Pain Putters. We got through season 1 of Don and it was an amazing ride. Now we have to put these episodes in the tier list. Let's get to it. This is the first time we're doing this on the channel, so I just want to break it down real quick. After each season of every show that we watch and react to, we will be breaking the episodes down into a tier list. I'm gonna be talking about each episode a little bit, so spoiler warning, spoiler alert. I'm not gonna say every last thing about each episode, but I hope that you watch the show. If you haven't yet, then maybe watch some of the reactions we did. Real quick, I want to show some love to Tejas. He's the one that made this tier list. He has his own video doing a Don episode tier list. I watched, it was great, so shout out to my boy right here. Okay guys, so first things first, we got to talk about the intro here. I'm not just including the episodes, I gotta include the music, man. Yes, I do. This show starts off with a banger. One of the best intros I've honestly heard in anime history. I'm not gonna lie. Y'all can debate me if you want, but I genuinely think this intro is within my top 3, and I don't think it's 3. I'm usually someone who listens to an intro 1 or 2 times, but this intro right here, I definitely bumped almost every episode, except maybe one, because I was fiending to see what was gonna go on in the episode. There's just something special about the feel and the vibes to this intro. I'm definitely recommending that you check out my reaction to the intros. The first time I ever seen it, you'll get a more in-depth vibe of the emotions that went through my body. That sounds kind of crazy, but y'all know what I mean. So we're taking this opening, and based off what I said, I bet y'all can guess it's going in S tier. Let's talk about episode 1. That's how love starts, you know? One of the first things that captured me when it comes to Dandadan is the animation style of this show. It's so crisp, yet so flowy. It caught me off guard at first, but it was truly enjoyable throughout the whole season. So we meet our main characters, Momo and Okarun. I personally like calling Okarun by his name Ken. Momo gave him the nickname, and that's what everyone calls him, so I guess we can call him that. He's kind of a loner. Some may view him as a loser. He gets bullied in class, but Momo, very good girl. She defends him from his bullies, and they start to form a bond over a shared interest in the occult. Aliens, ghost spirits, all that good stuff. But this leads to some beef over what's real, ghosts or aliens. Okarun is on Team Alien, Momo is on Team Ghost. They end up having a contest to see which one of them are right, and Okarun ends up running into a ghost. Turbo Granny, to be exact. Momo, on the other hand, she ends up running into aliens in a Diddy Party-esque situation. It's just nuts. They're called Serpoians, by the way. Things are looking pretty bad in the situation that Momo's in, but then her psychic powers awaken. Let me just ask y'all real quick. Would y'all spend a night partying with the diddler in exchange for psychic powers to awaken? Let me know in the comments. Back to the episode though, Okarun gets taken over by Turbo Granny, and he gets out the situation, but he's left with the curse, and his weenie, fill in the blanks if you don't know what's going on, is gone. Is vanished. Outside the situation, Momo and Ken bond for a little bit and decide to face off with Turbo Granny again to get Okarun's weenie back. So episode 1, I feel like was a peak introductory episode. Everything you can want out of a first episode. Action, beautiful character dynamics. I have to throw this in S. So I think that episode 2, that's the space alien, ain't it? Does a wonderful job on building on the relationship between Momo and Okarun. The dynamic between them is so peak. It just feels so fun to watch them interact. When it comes to the action of the episode, we're dealing with a sumo alien called the Flatwoods Monster. Mr. Flatwoods let out a black poisonous fog that couldn't be inhaled and was so strong to the point where Okarun asked Momo to release the curse on him that she was suppressing. And this leads to the first transformation we ever see out of Ken. Turbo Ken, Turbo Okarun. Sorry I'm calling him Ken, by the way, if it really annoys you. I just be calling him Ken. It's so much easier for me. I think I said it already, but I'm gonna be going back and forth between those two. I'm a big fan of the transformation myself. I think the aura is very radiant. Turbo Okarun looks so drippy. What is it actually called? Does anybody know? Somebody enlighten me. Despite the transformation, he wasn't strong enough yet to beat the sumo, which really had me like, yo, How are they going to get out this situation? How are they going to win this fight? And the way they got out the situation, the way they won the fight, it was so unique to me. It was so fire. Not every fight needs to be won with pure strength, pure power. And this episode of Dan Da Dan showed that in a way that I was like, damn. Alright, word, this fire. Episode 2 also ends with a cliffhanger going into episode 3 where it's just like, dang, this is about to be crazy. It's about to be a movie. I'm throwing 2 in A tier. Haha, paid butters. Granny Psycho appears for the first time in episode 3. It's a granny versus granny clash. Turbo Granny was about to eat Momo or do whatever, but Momo's Granny Psycho was able to duke it out with the ghost, demon, yokai, whatever the Turbo Granny actually is referred to as. And boy, that fight had some action to it. It was fire. It really had me feeling like, yo, I need some more of Psycho in action. It was, woo-hoo-hoo. It was great. After that situation, we got some more between Momo and Psycho. Somebody wasn't really nice to their grandma in the past, calling them a sham spirit medium. Momo ends up apologizing for what she said in the past because she wants to see Okarun. She wants to see what's good with him because she thinks that he might be boomed. He might be gone after that battle. We got some relationship advancements between those two. We got a nice lore dump learning about Turbo Granny and how she actually used to be called 100 Kilo Granny. We also find out that her power levels are pretty up there and she's merged with the location bound spirit, so she's even more tough. Psycho tells Momo and Okarun they're going to have to train if they want to have any chance at achieving their goal of getting Okarun's weenie back. And in the middle of the training the next day, Turbo Granny takes over Ken's body. Granny Psycho passes out. The possessed Okarun says, yo, y'all better pull up now if y'all want this weenie back, because I can boom anybody that Okarun's laid eyes on, and I ain't letting y'all train. Pull up now. Pull up to the tunnel tonight. Episode 3 was packed, man. It was packed with a lot of content, from the action to the lore dumps to raising the stakes going in the next episode. I'm throwing this in A easily. Episode 4, Kicking Turbo Granny's Ass. The title will not let you down. There's times in this show where the action is so super fast paced. It is insane. Like, things will happen so quickly, but at the same time, it never feels forced. This show has a fitting fast pace. So Momo and Okarun, they pull up to the tunnel and try and fight Turbo Granny. It does not work out too well at all. They get cooked. So they have to use Plan B, a strategy they came up with to provoke Turbo Granny, challenging her to a game attack. Things get really wild in this episode when the earthbound spirit reveals itself to be this crab alien ghost thing. I don't know what an alien is or a ghost is or a yokai is in this show. They're all just crazy creatures that look fine. But I'm telling y'all, things get nuts. Zombies start rising up. Turbo Granny fuses with the crab to become Turbo Granny crab alien yokai thing. And this fight once again culminates in another unique way to this show that is just, it's beautiful. So episode 4, man, Momo and Okarun, they make it out the situation. We got some Turbo Granny lore, more relationship advancements. Yeah, this is going in. Okarun got his weenie back, by the way. Just gotta let that be known. I'm putting this in there. Episode 5, like, where are your balls? We get some relationship advancements between the lovely Momo and Okarun. Feels good, feels nice. But things get complicated after an accidental kiss. It ain't no kiss though, they really just bumped into each other, but it looked like a kiss because Momo's friends saw it and they thought it was a kiss. You know how it goes in school. If rumors come out about you, it don't matter if it's true or false. If the right people hear that rumor and start spreading it, they gonna spread it like it's true, and people gonna believe like it's true. In the midst of all the complications, Okarun, who just got his weenie back, by the way, realizes his balls are gone. They vanished. We also have our first run-in with Ira. We'll be seeing her again pretty soon. Stay tuned. And also hit that like and sub if you're new, by the way. I haven't let it be known, but it would definitely help a lot. I'd appreciate it. We also get the premiere of Turbo Kitty. At least that's what I call her. Turbo Granny escaped from being exorcised completely and found her way into a lucky cat figurine and found her way into a lucky cat figurine and found her way into a lucky cat thing that Psycho keeps in her house. Turbo Kitty tries to claim that she had Okarun's balls, but she lost them. So this episode has some nice setup vibes. It did a great job on building on the characters. There was no real action, but I was still interested in everything that was going on. I'm gonna toss it up in B tier. Episode 6, a dangerous woman arrives. Turbo Granny lets us know that Okarun's balls are covered in a golden layer of her spiritual energy. So they're just golden balls out there in the world. And they've probably been captured by a yokai or a spirit because they are attracted to the life force within them. The next day in school, some dude pulls up on Okarun asking for him to hook him up with Momo because he heard that she'll sleep with anyone. Okarun gets a little tight after hearing this rumor that's going around. He's like, yo, what's going on here? First, people are saying we're kissing. Now they're saying Momo will sleep with everyone. Like, what? He starts to lose control of his powers a little bit, and I'm confused at this scene because I'm like, yo, can anybody see that he's literally transforming into like a demon, whatever the case may be? But he settles down though. It's cool though. We find out that the girl that we met last episode, Ira, she spread the rumor about Momo, and she could see Momo's psychic energy because Momo did this thing where Ira was being fake towards Okarun, and she dropped the tub on her head, and Ira saw that she was the one that did that. So she spread this little devious rumor about her. She also happens to be in possession of one of the golden balls, which I think gave her her powers and ability to see. And she thinks that Momo is a demon. So at the end of this episode, Ira tells Momo, yo, pull up, let's talk in private at a warehouse. And it gets crazy. Things start getting wild. A yokai named Acrobatic Silky pops out. We get a nice fight. It ends up, it's just fire. It's just fire. And it's building up into the next episode. With everything that went on, this episode 6 definitely deserves to be an A tier. I'm gonna be so real with y'all. I ain't even going full screen. I can't get too deep into episode 7. We get Acrobatic Silky's backstory. We get the fight between her and the crew wraps up, and Silky ends up transferring some of her aura into Ira. This episode is not only my favorite of the season, but it's honestly one of my favorite episodes of anime I've ever seen. It's so beautiful. Go rewatch it after this video. I'm sure you understand exactly what I mean. I would love if you guys could share your thoughts on this episode in particular in the comments. I just want to talk to y'all about it. It was amazing. S tier easily. Episode 8, I've got this funny feeling. Ira's joined the crew now, and she fits in perfectly. This show truly excels in bringing its characters and their relationships to life seamlessly. Like, yeah, she literally just joined the crew this episode, but it almost feels like she's been with us since episode 1. That's a testament to what this show can do and how it can make you feel connected to what's going on and to the characters. By the way, Ira has a crush on our boy Okarun, which leads Momo into a situation where it looks like Ira and Okarun were kissing on the ground. Yes, we have more relationship developments going on in this episode, and they're big. It's a love triangle. Towards the end of this episode, things get weird at school, man. The Serpoians from episode 1, they pop back out with some friends this time. It's a movie. Ira transforms into her new acrobatic silky form, and this episode, it was a nice build-up overall. I am throwing it in, I'm throwing it in B. It low-key has A tier potential, but I'm gonna throw it in B, because it was a build-up mostly towards what's going to happen in the next episode. Episode 9, Merge, Serpo, Net. Episode 9, Merge, so. Episode 9, Merge, Serpo. Episode 9, Merge, Serpo, Dover, Demon, Nessie. Just this title alone being so hard to say sets the tone for this episode. It is the pinnacle of fast-paced action. If you enjoy fast-paced things going rapid fire, just things coming at you at 100 miles per hour, this is the episode for you. This is the anime for you. So much was packed into this fight. Serpos, Okarun, punching alien that reminds me of Hitmonchan from Pokemon, Ira, Momo, Nessie, Serpo fusing with the punching mantis shrimp alien thing, and Nessie. Insane, wild finish to the fight. Insane. Momo, Ira, Okarun in their underwear in front of the whole school. Do I gotta say anything else? This is easily A tier. Episode 10, have you ever seen a cattle mutilation? This episode revolves around the Hitmonchan alien, who's actually called the Dover Demon. We get some lore about him and his world. He converts to the good side after he gets some help from the crew. And at the end of the episode, a cool looking friend of Momo's pops up at the door. This episode got me feeling like C tier, just cause it's a cool episode. It's funny. This show is overall funny, by the way. I don't think I've mentioned the comedy of this show. It is top tier. This show be having me weak. There's so many scenes that are just so memorable and fun. I do feel like that shines in this episode right here, but almost every episode has a good amount of comedy that feels good. This episode is just, I could throw it in the end of B, but it deserves C. We need to, yeah, it's C. In episode 11, First Love, we find out the boy at the door that showed up, his name is Gigi, and he happens to be joining the crew. He's gonna be staying over at Momo's house with Granny Psycho, with Okarun will be there. I don't think Okarun has a home, like he's always just at Momo's crib for what we see. He goes home like one time. Ira be pulling up all the time too, even though she thinks like everyone is a demon or something or enslaved by Momo. And yes, now Gigi is staying with us. His parents both felt ill and he was being tormented at his home by some spirit. I don't know, we're gonna find out later. As you can see by the little picture on episode 11 here, let me make it still so you guys can just see. The next day at school, there's an incident with the anatomical model, you know, one of those things from your biology class. Like you can see the insides of it. It's weird. But bro starts rushing out and they start chasing him, the crew, because they think that he has another one of the golden balls because he's literally a talking, running, sprinting body model. It's really weird. I'm throwing this episode in B tier. It was cool. It had some good developments, I'd say. And I'm throwing episode 12 in C tier. Let me tell you why. Episode 12, let's go to the cursed house. I have to throw episode 12, the final episode of the season, into C tier because it honestly pissed me off. There's good comedy. There's good lore. Things happen in this episode. We get to Gigi's house, which is haunted. Momo ends up in a hot spring getting cornered by some demon ghoul looking guys called Gators. It's wild. Gigi and Okarun, they're low-key beefing over Momo's love. So now we're in a love square, rectangle, octagon, whatever shape it might be. It's wild. It's wild. This episode feels good. It feels really good. And I would be so happy if we got the next episode, but no, this was the final episode of the season and it left us off on the biggest cliffhanger. And I just don't like when the final episodes of any season, anime, any show it might be, ends with no resolution, just pure cliffhanger. It gets me tight. That's why I'm putting this episode in C tier, just because it feels so unfulfilling. This season was a wild ride. It felt so good. But at least give me something. Give me something, please. Anything could happen to me before next season comes out. Please. If that wasn't the case, though, and I wasn't being biased to how I felt about cliffhangers, it's not even cliffhangers. It's just like, I honestly would put this episode in B, but I'm just putting it in C because I'm hating. I'm not gonna lie, I'm hating. I need more. I can't wait. I need more. Last but not least, let me talk about the outro music. It's a bop. I'm throwing it in A tier easily. I can't compare it to the opening because the opening is just in its own paradise, in its own, it cannot be touched. But I really enjoyed the vocals, I really enjoyed the instruments, and together it fused to be a beautiful outro. Something where when the episode ends, you can just bob your head, you can feel good, you can laugh, thinking about what happened in the episode. Great vibes overall. And that's our tier list, guys. In S tier, we have the opening as well as episode 1 and episode 7. These truly belong in S tier. In A tier, we have episodes 2, 3, 4. 3 great episodes in a row. 6, 9, and the ending song. A tier is very tough. All these episodes are super enjoyable. They are great. In B tier, we have episode 5, episode 8, and episode 11. These episodes are also very good watches. They might just have been missing a little something that would have elevated them to A tier. Still very great though. And in C tier, we have episode 10 and episode 12. These episodes, C tier usually kind of means mid, but Dandadan honestly is on a different type of scale because C tier wasn't even mid. These episodes were still entertaining. They were still fun. They just had something about them that held me back from putting them alongside the B tier episodes. Pain Puddings. I cannot wait for Dandadan season 2. I hope that if you've never watched any of my reactions or missed the season 1 reactions, that you join me for season 2. I would love to hear what you guys thought about this season in the comments below. What y'all thought about my tier list. Where would y'all put what episode? I want to hear it all. I really do. If you guys have any critiques, any feedback for this style of video so I can get better, please let me know as well. But until next time, hit that like button, hit that sub button if you new. Let's keep putting in pain.